Hey guys, Brian O'Day, Executive Director of the Praetorian Project, and this time I am in my home church of Pillar Church of Jacksonville, North Carolina, outside of Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. I'm joined with Jonathan Davis, sometimes goes by JD, here, one of the pastors at Pillar Jacks. So, JD, why don't you give us like a little history of Pillar Jacks and your involvement with us?
Okay, so not the full history of Pillar Jacks,
Yeah.
because that would involve you, but I got here in 2016, just came as someone that would help to solidify some things. Obviously, by the time I got here, even 4 years later after the church had planted, the church had already turned over 3 different times, and so that means new membership. In 4 years, there was new membership almost every year. And so, just wanted to come and try to help solidify. I'm from East North Carolina, and so just wanted to come and be a part of what was happening here. And so in 2016, I did that, moved here, got a job. My wife got a job, became an elder, and was serving in that way. And in 2019, you moved into a different role with our project, and then the church voted to move me into as pastor of the church full time. And so I've been doing that since 2019. And God's been gracious in that work for us.
Yeah, good. So from Eastern North Carolina, so almost moving back home, not quite. You grew up an hour or so from here, and you've been involved in multiple Pillar churches, constituted, I believe, 5 different church plants. So lots of history with church planting. Been with us here for the past 6 years or so. What is Pillar Jack celebrating these days?
That's a good question. We're celebrating lots of new members coming in and out. Lots of people. Also, we're celebrating people that are leaving. We want to celebrate. I know it sounds weird to celebrate people leaving, but we feel like the people that are leaving are leaving more mature and spiritual maturity than when they got here, and I think that's a huge thing for us to celebrate. We're also celebrating the fact that we planted a church in November of 2020, Pillar Church of Topsail down in Topsail, North Carolina, just about 35 minutes south of us. We're excited about that. If you want to check out that interview between you and Joshua Brown, you can go back a couple of months and see that interview, but we're really excited about what's happening down there. The church is growing and thriving, and just feel like that's been a great thing for us. And then for us here in the future, we've got a church plant that looks like we're going to be able to start here in the next year or so, Lord willing, and down in Cherry Point and Havelock, about 50 minutes from here. And so that's another thing that we're celebrating, that God's opened the door for us and just created this avenue where we can go and plant in Cherry Point. We've been praying for this for a little while, and so it's just really encouraging to see what God's been doing and is doing in that work.
Yeah, it's been cool. You set out an initiative just a couple of years ago to reach the military bases in this region, really in North Carolina. So Fort Bragg and Topsail on the south side of Lejeune, and Havelock near Cherry Point, about an hour from here. The other one's Goldsboro, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. And so really seeing some of that come to fruition has been really exciting. That's good. The other one, the sending, we're sending a lot of families, right? A couple families are going to Pillar Okinawa, a couple families potentially to Pillar DC, maybe some to Dumfries as well. So it's cool to be able to send mature believers and growing disciples to other churches to bless other churches.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's happening for us as well. We're already in the pipeline.
We're receiving,
so
yeah.
We are, yeah.
Absolutely. That's exciting. We're receiving some of this,
yeah.
So what are some ways people can be praying for Pillar Jacks?
Yeah, so you mentioned the initiative to plant churches around the military. Specifically for us, I think we've talked about, as a project, we want to plant some churches that are broad and wide, in those areas, but in the U.S. Major areas. But for us here at Pillar Jacks, I have personally focused on the military bases really close around us that we can impact. And man, God has been just really gracious in opening those doors, including Topsail, Fort Bragg, where we already have a planter there looking for a partner, and then Cherry Point down in Havelock is already beginning. We've already Lord's blessed us by already providing for us a building that we're looking to transition over to Pillar, and then had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with some leaders in Goldsboro, North Carolina, which is where Seymour Johnson is, and they're very much ready and have some opportunities for us to jump right in to church planting there in that area around Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. And so, man, if people could just be praying that those things would come to fruition, that much like Pillar Topsoil, that they would grow and thrive as quickly as they have to solidify themselves. We already have ready leaders for Havelock, and man, just that God would continue to build that team. Matter of fact, we have a meeting May. I don't know when this comes out, but probably before that meeting, May 22nd. We'll have a meeting after church. That's a Pillar Havelock core team meeting, and so, man, just starting to develop that meeting and what that looks like, and that team, developing that team and what that looks like. So we're just really excited about the opportunities that lie before us in the sending of and planting of new churches, plus all those that are coming in that we want to just raise up. Just continue to pray that would happen. Because the guys that we're sending out, we've raised up, and it's just been super encouraging.
Absolutely. There's lots of opportunity for discouragement and difficulty in the pastoral ministry, but planting churches is like what really gets us excited and continues to spur us on. So it's been really cool to see some of those things come to fruition. As JD mentioned, in a few days, if you're watching this as the email comes out, in just a few days on May 22nd will be that interest meeting for what we pray is future Pillar Church of Havelock. And so I would just ask, if you've watched this video to this point, would you take a moment and stop and pray for Pillar Church of Jacksonville, and then also those future works that we mentioned here near North Carolina military bases. Thank you so much, and thank you for your ongoing support of the Praetorian Project.